Hello, you guys. This week's episode is going to be Memento Mori, which is kind of the beginning of Scully's cancer arc. I'll probably end up doing the whole cancer arc because why not, but this is where it all begins. The episode starts with one of Scully's classic, very poetic, very dream-like monologues. It's like something very specific that Gillian does with her voice. So soothing, you could easily fall asleep to it. It's like, who is this angel voice person? The whole monologue is basically addressed to Mulder, and there are serious romantic undertones that I don't understand why the writers.
That you should know my heart, look into it, finding there the memory and experience that belong to you, that are you.
Do you know what you're writing? You're basically saying that Scully thinks that Mulder has her heart and is her heart. Like, what? Just let them kiss. As she's saying all this, we zoom in on Scully looking at an x-ray of her skull, and there's clearly like something going on in the x-ray. It's very dramatique. And the monologue kind of concludes with her saying she hopes he can forgive her for not making the rest of the journey with him. And I honestly just feel like that is some marriage vow shit. And yeah, that's all I have to say about it. Then we see Mulder. He's racing into the oncology unit with like a bouquet of flowers, and he so shyly presents them to her. Of course, he like makes a joke out of the whole thing.
I stole these from some guy with a broken leg down the hall. Yeah, won't be able to catch me.
This is such an endearing quality of Mulder's. He's always flirting with Scully or doing like cute things for her, but he always makes it into this sort of self-deprecating sort of thing. But anyway, he gives her these flowers and my heart is just who knows where it is. It's out there somewhere. He asks what's going on, and apparently our girl has got an inoperable brain tumor.
A tumor. You're the only one I've called.
Is it operable?
No.
But it's treatable.
The truth is that the type and placement of the tumor make it difficult to the extreme.
I refuse to believe that.
For all the times that I have said that to you, I am as certain about this as you have ever been.
Some rough shit. Literally, I'm going to cry. Also, I just have to shout out to one of my favorite shots in the whole series. I love everything about the composition of this shot. It's so striking. I always think about it when I think of my favorite shots from the X-Files. So it turns out that previously, Mulder and Scully had investigated a series of cases where women who were abducted and given implants also had brain tumors like Scully's, developed like the same kind of cancer. Scully's like, I'm going to investigate this shit. I am going to be working and solving my own case. Big shout out to Gillian's eyeballs during this scene. Hoo boy. So they start going down the list of these women that this has happened to, and first on the list is this woman named Betsy, and they show up at Betsy's house, and it turns out she has already passed away, so they can't talk to her. But they go inside and look around, and while they're looking around, Scully sort of has this flashback vision to when she initially met all these women back in season 3. She like touches the implant on the back of her neck. Downstairs in this woman's house, it looks like she's receiving some sort of fax or download. The details are lost on me. From some man named Kurt Crawford. They go to find Kurt. Kurt's like running through the dark trying to get away from them, and they tackle him to the ground real good. But as they've tackled him, Scully's nose starts bleeding and Mulder sort of looks back at her and sees it. This is just like such the beginning of iconic Scully like I'm fine shit when you're not fine.
Scully.
What? I'm fine, Mulder. Quit staring at me, I'm fine.
My heart just breaks because Scully so badly wants to be taken seriously and to be considered competent, and of course she's afraid that she's dying, but she doesn't want to deal with that. So this is just like a big ol' slap in the face. Bitch, you can't avoid this. And honestly, these shots of Scully cleaning her nose are also some of my favorite shots. The poignancy of her looking in the mirror and the blood dropping on the white sink is just, it gets me. Scully comes out of the bathroom, finds out after Mulder's been talking to Kurt that Kurt belonged to the same MUFON group as Betsy. Betsy. So he was just trying to save her files or protect them or something. Scully's like, we're gonna have to cross-check that with the other MUFON members, but sucks to suck because all the other MUFON members are these women and they're all dead. This is not boding well for Scully at all. Mulder and Scully exchange looks, and it's just like they know, you know?
Well, that will have to be cross-checked.
We can't.
Why not?
You know? So Scully's just not having this, and she confronts Kurt, and Kurt tells her that there is one woman who's still alive from the group, and her name is Penny Northern. She's in this hospital getting treated for cancer, and it doesn't look good. Like, she's gonna die soon. Mulder takes Scully into the hallway, and he basically tells her that she needs to accept and confront the idea that her cancer came from her abduction, and Scully's just not about this idea at all. So she goes to talk to Penny Northern directly in the hospital. Penny immediately recognizes her. Scully's like, how do you know me? And she's like, oh, you know, I was like up there with you and comforted you during our abduction after the tests. And Scully's just like, well, I don't fucking remember that, but okay. Penny tells Scully that she's being treated by a doctor named Dr. Scanlon, who thinks he's isolated the cause of her cancer, and like, you know, if he'd caught it earlier, maybe, you know, she'd have a better shot. You can see the gears turning in Scully's head. She's thinking like, oh gosh, it's still pretty early for my cancer. You know, maybe I should work with this doctor if he seems to know what the cause is. And it's just some really great acting on Gillian's part. 10 out of 10. Meanwhile, Mulder thinks that he's found a lead at this fertility clinic, and he's like, Scully, you know, I got this lead, but she just interrupts him and is like, bring me an overnight bag and I need you to call my mom because our girl's checking herself into the hospital. Like, this is some serious stuff, y'all. Ooh.
I think that we both know that right now the truth is in me, and that's where I need to pursue it as soon as possible.
I will be right there.
And honestly, it's just some seriously great acting all around. I'm really on edge and emotionally unstable. So Scully's in the hospital bed and she looks so cute and so tiny. She's about to be treated by Dr. Scanlon, and Maggie Scully ends up coming in. She and Scully have this really emotionally charged moment. They hug and they're crying, and I'm crying, and there's no one here to hug me, so what the fuck? So Scully goes in for her MRI. This really poetic voiceover starts again, and she's talking to Mulder about how she personally has to make this journey alone and how he shouldn't blame himself when she's gone. Okay, bitch. All this time, Mulder's just trying to investigate the shit out of everything, trying to follow up on this fertility clinic lead, and while he's like breaking into buildings and stuff, he ends up running into Kurt, who's like also trying to hack the system. They work together, figure it out. Back at the hospital, Scully's having nightmares about her abduction. She wakes up and Penny Northern's like at her side. Scully was like, oh, you were there, and Penny tries to tell her they allowed me to like be with you and comfort you during these procedures, and Scully's like, not about it again. So after all of Mulder's sleuthing, he finds Scully's name on this fertility clinic ledger. Mulder brings it to Skinner and is like, Scully has never received treatment here. Some shit's going down. What's going on? I need to talk to cigarette smoking man. Make it happen. And Skinner is like, you thought.
He knows what they did to Agent Scully. He may very well know how to save her.
If he knows, you can know too, but you can't ask the truth of a man who trades and lies. I won't let you.
We are talking about Agent Scully's life.
Find another way.
So because Mulder got such a hard no from Skinner, he goes and recruits the lone gunman to help him out, and they break into this fertility clinic, research center, whatever the fuck it is. Very Mission Impossible, very Ocean's franchise, excellent scene. And while they're in there and trying to figure out what's going on, Mulder sees Dr. Scanlon's name on one of the doors, and he's like, that's Scully's doctor. Something's going on here. This doctor's dirty, like he treated all of the other women with the same issues and they're all dead now. Oh ho 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 oh no. Also, while Mulder's in there, he ends up running into Kurt, only it's not Kurt. There are several Kurts, and it's like they all work there, and there's all of these big incubation tanks, and we find out that these guys are all part of this project. They are now the scientists working on the project, but they're also trying to stop the project. I'm never gonna know all the details too, to be completely honest. But one of the fake Kurts brings Mulder back into this room. We see all of these little storage unit things in the walls, and they have women's names on them, and these are all of the harvested ova that sort of gave birth to this experiment. And one of them has Dana Scully's name on it. Fake Kurt shows it to Mulder, and Mulder takes her ova and just like puts it in his pocket and goes to get the fuck out of there. While he's trying to get the fuck out of there, it is one of the craziest, most suspenseful scenes. Alien bounty hunter, I think that's who it is, I suck at knowing these things, is like chasing after him and like shooting him down. There's like this plate glass, like, oh gosh, is it gonna break? Is he gonna get Mulder? And Mulder's trying to get out the door. And excellent scene. Excellent, but also terrifying. While this is going down, Scully's still back at the hospital, still writing morose ass shit in her diary. And I think we need to talk about the fact that Scully thinks she's dying, and what does she spend most of her time doing? Writing a big book of her thoughts specifically to Mulder. Like, what? Who does that if you're not in love with somebody? So when Mulder gets back from his investigating nonsense, he like runs to the hospital, and when he gets to Scully's room, she's not there, and he's assuming the worst. Like, he starts running everywhere being like, where is she? Turns out she's just sitting with Penny Northern, because Penny Northern is going down. She is not gonna make it. And Mulder just like waits for her while Scully waits in there with Penny. It's really sad. Penny passes away, and Scully leaves her room and is very emotional about it. But Mulder's there for her, and he's waiting in the hallway. He tells her that he read some of what she wrote, and I just love her reaction. Like, she's so kind of upset that he read that.
And I read some of what you wrote.
I didn't want you to read that.
Because after talking with Penny, she's had kind of like an epiphany where she knows that she can fight this, and she wants to go back to work, and she wants to not give up on life anymore. And Mulder's just so proud of her. There's just no other way to describe it. He's so incredibly proud, and they hug. The way they fit together and the way they look at each other.
The truth will save you, Scully. I think it'll save both of us.
It's all just way too much for me. Also, if I can find it, I'm definitely putting it in here. There's at least one take where Gillian and David kissed each other on the mouth during this scene, and obviously it got cut out because everybody sucks. But anyway, this moment is just super special and one of the best MSR moments in history. To be honest, it's one of the main reasons we had to cover this episode. Then as Scully leaves and walks away down the hallway, we see Mulder just like pocket her ova still, and he doesn't give it to her. He just keeps it to himself, and I think that's kind of fucked up because it's her goddamn ova, not yours, Mulder. Like, you don't get to decide what's going on with her body. Way too many men in this series have way too much say over Scully's body, and I'm just like not having it. The last shot is cigarette smoking man hanging out in Skinner's office, and this is the period where we don't really know who Skinner's working for. Whose side is he on? Is he working with cigarette smoking man? Is he still loyal to Mulder and Scully? Like, guess we'll find out. Thanks so much for watching. Go check out some of my other videos, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys soon.